Negativity is not maturity, and pessimism is not realism. Today I'm here in my bedroom floor. It's my bedtime, but I just felt like I needed to make this video. I have no script. I'm just gonna be expressing thoughts. It is evident if you pay attention enough that humans have this bias towards negativity that is just normalized, right? I feel like pessimism is normalized. I feel like that's just a reality for the most part in society. And I don't think it should be. So I'm currently writing down the reasons why I think that is, right? The reasons why I think pessimism is so normalized. I'm gonna start with perhaps the one that I think is easiest to understand and the one that might be more obvious, which is positivity is seen as juvenile, right? If you are a joyous, playful person past the age of 12, you are considered juvenile, right? And this is because feelings of discontent, irritation, and frustration are so normalized and seen as inevitable and necessary in every single situation in life. Like, nobody questions it. If you see anybody around you suffering, you take that for granted as normal. But why is that? Like, why is negativity and pessimism normalized, right? So the second reason I have here is the pathological need for control that most humans, if not every human, has. Of course, that is conditioned, right? Because of the things that you are taught by your parents and anybody that socializes you. You develop this irrational fear of not being in control, right? Which I think requires a higher level of awareness for you to be able to, realize that, like, humans have this need to predict what is going to happen to avoid pain. And right now I remembered, very random, this Spider-Man movie from Marvel. I think it was the very last one, in which Zendaya, she plays as MJ, right? She says, if you expect disappointment, you'll never be disappointed. And I feel like that quote encapsulates exactly what I mean by this. And this is a mindset that a lot of people have internalized. Like, where people are trying to predict suffering, pain, and disappointing situations before they happen as to avoid disappointment, which I don't even think it's an effective strategy, because I think you just end up going through that anyway. And it stems from a need of safety, which is very animalistic and primal. But beyond that, this need for control is truly pathological. Okay? That is not living. To live in fear, it's literally not living. It's just surviving, always being anxious for the next thing that is going to happen. Yeah, and this can apply to literally everything. Trying to control situations, trying to control people. And lastly, humans have an addiction to suffering. The same way that people are addicted to drugs and alcohol or sex or anything of those things, like, suffering can also be an addiction, and it is for majority of humanity, unfortunately. Your ego is simply your persona, the person you are here on earth. You know, when you play a video game and you have an avatar, which you can customize the name, the skin color, the hair, this avatar. We have the things that we like, the things that we dislike, the things that we identify with. I identify with the color blue. I identify with my job, with my occupation. I'm a kind person. I identify as being, like, really loved by my friends, or I identify as being a rebel, being hated. This is all egoic concepts. This ego has something which I've read in a book. It's called the pain body, the unconscious part of yourself that is addicted to suffering, which is why people overthink, why people like to listen to sad music, why people like to rage bait, why people like to victimize themselves, or why people like to inflict pain, whether that be physical or emotional, this is all to feed the pain body. And obviously negativity and pessimism just feeds that. Like that negativity and pessimism, it's basically fuel for that. But this is not sustainable, right? And also the phrase no pain no gain, I feel like it also is an example of this internalized into wider society. Like I hear that phrase a lot when it comes to your career. Like there's always an assumption of that something negative is going to go on. Like you can't have a relationship with no friction. You can't start your career without having several downfalls and making several mistakes, which are not inherently lies, right? The problem is the overemphasis of this. And you being a pessimist does not mean you're being a realist. Because what does being a realist even mean, you know? Apparently, it is just pessimism. Like, I really want you to answer that right now. Like, what do you consider to be realism? To anticipate the challenges, the mistakes, the bad things that are going to happen. That's being a realist. You gotta consider out of these challenges, out of these bad things that are gonna happen to you. Why? You know? And this is why people are so miserable. We keep perpetuating this. And guys, let's stop. I am dedicating my life to being a cycle breaker, okay? On an individual level and also on a collective level. I am a positive, joyful person. As I grow up, I feel like that will only be more emphasized. I will literally just be a ray of sunshine. I'll take that to my grave. And that does not make me juvenile. It does not make me immature. Okay? It does not make me delusional. It simply means that I don't want to suffer unnecessarily. And literally the other day, my friend posted that she didn't want to grow up because, I think as a joke-ish, but it's something that I also felt. She didn't want to grow up because she didn't want to lose her spark, her whimsy, her joyfulness. Being an adult seems so serious and boring. I don't want that. That is sad because it's literally something that it's like common sense. When you grow up, you can't be this joyful, whimsical person anymore. You have to be serious, right? Because your joy is juvenile and it won't get you anywhere. And stuff like that can sometimes not be said to you directly like that, but it is implied. It is implied and it shouldn't be. We've all been children. And to come to the point that people become these adults full of internalized trauma and suffering is because they've completely abandoned their inner child. And they've been deluded into believing that that's a positive thing. This is why people are so out of touch with themselves. Because your inner child is you, is your truest, purest self. For me, it's just the more experiences I have that make me think about these things, I'm just like, what? It generally does not make sense to me. And I'm a very empathetic person. I get it, you know? I get why people are like this. That's why I made like these 3 points, because like I really wanted to know like what makes people get like this, you know? I've also been through rough patches. I've also been like depressed. I also have things that I'm trying to better about myself and my life, and things that perhaps I don't like so much about myself or my appearance or whatever, but I am so compassionate towards myself and others, but towards myself, you know? I don't talk to myself negatively because I know that's not beneficial and it won't help my situation at all. And I am not trying to encourage toxic positivity, because I feel like the line is blurred when people talk about these things and they're like, yeah, try not to have negative thoughts and like try to speak yourself, have more like a more positive dialogue with yourself and like see the blessings in your life and like just ignore everything bad. No, because for this suffering to leave your body, your consciousness, like your aura, your energy, it needs to be expressed, right? And it will be through that cussing someone out, cussing yourself out, screaming into a pillow, like, you know, that's all right. But the problem starts when that is just your normal state of being. Like, it's just a cycle. you're perpetuating this cycle of negativity. Like, that's the problem, you know? That is kind of like the opposite, the other side of the spectrum of toxic positivity. That's toxic negativity. Negativity is inherently toxic. So no, of course you don't need to be rainbows and sunshines all the time. That is not the point. I'm not rainbows and sunshines all the time. You know? It's about avoiding unnecessary suffering, because people have brainwashed us into believing that pessimism is realism and that negativity is maturity. It is not. Negativity is literally a dark cloud that blinds you and blocks you from so many good things that are literally right in front of you, and you just can't see it because you're there reminiscing, anticipating the future and bad situations, thinking about the past, bringing your past trauma into present situations, not allowing yourself to receive the blessings and abundance and positivity that the world has to give you. Please, let's be more joyful, guys. No, what am I trying to say with this? Perhaps just to be more observant. Just be observant. Like, I feel like you don't need to change, because if you've been the way that you are for so long, it's obviously not going to be something from night and day, but literally just observe whenever a negative thought arises. How does that make you feel? Because if you're telling me that that generally just makes you feel good, then more power to you. I don't even know why you're watching this video. But chances are it doesn't. It makes you feel bad. But then again, it's what I was saying. That pain is kind of transmuted into this pleasure that just fuels more of that negativity. And it just feels good to stay there rather than trying to change, right? But no, you can start small. Counting your blessings in your hands. I'm here right now. I'm alive. My family's well. I have a roof over my head. It's okay. You might still be depressed and anxious even after counting these blessings. Like, there are so many humans with going through so many different situations, outrageous, horrendous, inhumane situations. But that's not why I won't make this video. I feel like we have to start somewhere. We are starting somewhere, and I want to contribute to that. So yeah, I just want you to be more conscious of how your negative thoughts and the way you go about the world, conditioned by all this negative socialization, makes you feel, and how it affects literally all of your interactions. And I would encourage you to connect with your inner child again, however that may be. I'm not going to explain that in this video right now, but like, connecting with your inner child will make you a happier person.